Hello, this is Greg Allison of Green Gregs coming to you in the wee hours of the morning on the 27th of January 2021. Time on deck is 03:1600 hours Central Standard Time. Now, you know, we've had a lot going on in this country. We've had a whole lot of trials and tribulations for the last several weeks, and because of that, I have come to get behind on my reporting of things going on in the international sphere. As you know, it's proposition my channel to help you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And along those lines, I bring you reports to keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. But unfortunately, I have neglected during this time China and all the things they have been up to. Yes, it really kind of hits me right here in the heart to have ignored my dear friend Xi Jinping and his ruthless activities around the world of his regime. Okay. So, okay, disclaimer. There are good people in China, very smart people all over the world, from every race, creed, color, from every city, town, and religion. People with good hearts, smart people. But sometimes, it flows to the top. And some organizations I'm somewhat less than enamored with because some of them have machinations to do things they ought not do. Okay, so said that, I am all for the Chinese people, and the Chinese people are some of the biggest victims of the Chinese Communist Party. I'm not exactly enamored of that organization or its leadership, especially Xi Jinping, who is the strongest man they've had in that party as the General Secretary of the party since Mao Zedong. He's also president of China, for whatever that means. Now, so, I was a bit facetious, I said, my dear friend. So we're going to get all into what's going on now because they are stirring a pot. Once again, they never stopped. But they really testing the new administration, the Biden administration. So there is still the prospects that we, even with, everybody's thinking, Biden would, and he and a lot of his members of administration are reportedly connected to certain things that pertain to the CCP. And some people say they have been, in monetary beneficiary relationships, according to some. But whatever the case is, there's still tensions here and they're being tested. And so, hey, maybe it's a big global kabuki game or dance, but guys, we're the ones who are at risk to all this, along with the people over there. Actually, the citizens of that country suffer most in the hands of the CCP. So, what we could hope for is that they attain liberty. And we'll talk about that toward the end of this report. But in the meantime, you need to know that you need to get ready because you need to prepare in case things go awry. Holy smoke, I've been telling you that the international tensions are off the charts. And you might have thought, well, this change on guard in DC, that maybe things would calm down. You might have thought that. No, they haven't. And also, believe it or not, once again, China and India, troops along the line of actual control got into another big scuffle, hand-to-hand combat. Yes, that's just happened again. Keeps happening. Maybe I'll cover that in a separate report because that's a real big risk area in our world. And indeed, that can affect us right here. So we'll cover that maybe in the future. So, but for right now, this is a test of American resolve and American power as much as anything else, and even the Taiwanese see that. So that's why I said you just got to get ready. You got to prepare yourself, grow your own food, learn how to forage in the wild, get to eat the weeds in the trees. I do videos and all that. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to my channel, bring the update notification bell, and click all, because I bring you stories like these, things that you need to be aware of. I bring you things like gardening. I bring you things like wild edibles, wild medicinals. I cover these kind of topics, and I also cover some aquaponics. I cover worm farming, and hopefully in the spring, maybe in April, I'll be selling worms again for those that are interested. In the meantime, I do have a special in case you're interested. You can get 20% off long-term food storage that lasts 25 years, and it's 2,000 calories per day. You can get 2 of these, or you can get 1 of these. You can get a 2-week or a 1-week supply. If you go to prepwithgreg.com, 20% off there at prepwithgreg.com, and that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A deal that'll make you a winner because you can get a whole day's food. That's this kind of stuff that lasts forever almost. It's lightweight. You can either carry it in a bucket or bug out with it. And my friends, It's only about $8.10 or 11 cents a day. Can't beat that. Not for this kind of stuff. And by the way, you can click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you go to prepwithgreg.com, and it takes you to all kind of other prepping supplies, which you're going to need if it gets really bad, if it hits the fan. It might just do it because we got tensions right here at home, and they seem to be getting higher and higher. But I've been talking about this so much. Let's talk about what's coming from the outside so that we can be aware of it. So what happened? 2 days. 2 days. The People's Republic of China, their People's Liberation Army, actually, the Army and Air Force, Navy, it's all PLA, People's Liberation Army there, which is the pointy instrument of the CCP, mind you. Yes, the pointy tip of their instrumentality, you might say, what they use to apply pressure. So the PLA sent aircraft into the Air Defense Identification Zone of Taiwan on both last weekend, on both Saturday and Sunday, just when the Biden administration was just 3 days old, just 3 days into the Biden administration. On the weekend, when they might have hoped they got arrest, they got test. They got a test instead of arrest. So they sent 13 aircraft into that zone on Saturday, and they sent 15 into the zone on Sunday. So yeah, so here's what happened. They did this just as our aircraft carrier, the USS Theodore Roosevelt, which is the 4th Nimitz-class aircraft carrier of the United States, just happened to go into the South China Sea. So it coincidentally coincided with the arrival of the USS Theodore Roosevelt and beginnings of the Biden administration. So as we know, the PLA has been testing Taiwan a lot of late, but apparently this was a kind of a record number of aircraft, and 2 days in a row, right into their zones. So on Saturday, they flew into the southwest part of the ADIZ is what they call it, the that Air Defense Identification Zone. And on Sunday, they flew in between Taiwan and the islands they control, the Taiwanese islands known as the Protus Islands. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's kind of an odd name, don't really sound too Chinese to me. Maybe it is. PRATAS. So kind of Anglo kind of name or European kind of name. But hey, yeah, they probably got that in their lingo too. So in any event, here's what happened. They sent, let's see, they had 13 aircraft that went into the zone. It was on Saturday, and these included the Y-8 anti-submarine aircraft, which has also its recon anti-submarine. They had 8 Xi'an H-6K bombers, and those bombers are capable of carrying cruise missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles, nuclear weapons. So these were nuclear weapon capable aircraft. And they also had 4 Xinjiang J6 fighter jets. That's what they got Saturday. Come Sunday, they went in between the Protus Islands and Taiwan with 6 J-10 fighter jets, 4 the J-16s, once again, some of those returned, 2 Su-30s, and again, a Y-8 anti-sub recon aircraft. So they're sending these aircraft into this zone continuously, just testing everything, putting some stress in the system, because that means that Taiwan's got to scramble their aircraft. And so just so you know that the White House is taking this serious, and they are objecting to this stuff. Emily Horn, who's the White House National Security Council spokeswoman, she said the following. She said, Washington's commitments to Taipei, which is the capital of what we call Taiwan, actually it's called the Republic of China officially, is rock solid. She said again, Washington's commitments to Taipei is rock solid. Now, just bear in mind, you have the People's Republic of China, which is run by the CCP, and you have a democratic government of China called the Republic of China, which is separate. That's what's resident in Taiwan. We call it Taiwan, the main island there being the island of Formosa, in case you didn't know. And even though, I'll get into that in a minute. So senior Taiwan or Republic of China lawmaker Xi Jinping, probably totally murdered his name. My apologies in advance. My Mandarin and whatever other Chinese dialects and languages are somewhat rusty. Okay, he said China was trying to deter the new U.S. government from backing the islands. It's sending a message to the Biden administration, and that's the way they interpret it because it happened right on the heel of Biden taking office. So, U.S. State Department spokesman Ned Price said, "We urge Beijing to cease its military, diplomatic, and economic pressure against Taiwan, and instead engage in meaningful dialogue with the nation's democratically elected representatives." Of course, I understand that Xi Jinping had kind of, in response, just basically put out a threat of war. That was his response. You know, but he always smiles. He's always got his head cut kind of, you know, in a diminutive manner. He's on, you know, a little smile he does. And okay, I can't do it. I can't do his little bland with a smile. I can't get there. Kind of a doll smile that he always has, you know. Yeah, Sun Tzu, you know, don't get your enemy excited too much, you know. We're smiling, we're just good friends, you know. Come here, let me buy you a Coke, let me get you you want a cigar? Hey, you want something? Just relax, lay down, take it easy, stab. So it works. All right, so you got to remember this. Taiwan, the Republic of China, was never a part of the People's Republic of China. As you might know, the CCP General Secretary Xi Jinping, you know, he claims the Taiwan, the island, and that area and its people as part of China. He says it's an irrevocable part of China, and he will not rule out military action to take it. They refer to it as a breakaway regime, a breakaway republic. It never broke away. It was never, ever under the rule of the PRC or the CCP. Never. And as a matter of fact, the ROC, the Republic of China, predates the PRC and was originally the government there in mainland China, well, before the, you know, after the fall of the previous dynasty. And the fact of the matter is they actually had a war with the PRC and went to exile. General Chiang Kai-shek took them on exile to the island of Formosa, which we call Taiwan, because it was going to be a really easily defended area. So that's where they went in exile. They had really hoped one day to take back mainland China for the ROC. So to call it breakaway is a bit of a misnomer. Actually, the PRC is the insurgency. All right, all that said, that's the truth about China and their relationship. So but in both places, both parts of China, there's good people on both sides. Just like there are in so many other places in the world where people are pitted against each other. It's the governments, the ruling classes that create all these problems and get everybody excited and worked up. And, you know, they feed them people on each side all kind of stuff to get them worked up against. So basically, in any conflict, one side will always try to dehumanize the other side. But it occurs here in the United States in our left-right paradigm that we've got going on now. So, yeah, interesting how that works, right? So, Taiwan's president, and forgive me in advance for murdering this name, Tsai Ing-wen, she has repeatedly many times said that their country's 23 million people, as opposed to mainland China's 1.3 or 4 billion, have no wish to give up their sovereignty or their democratic way of life. We know it kind of resonates. Excuse me. It kind of resonates because our very founding document here of the United States our Declaration of Independence, and I just read from this in my very previous video, and I cited the following. Of course, it talks about, we're endowed by our Creator with unalienable rights that include life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which I said was originally property, right? That to secure those rights, governments, here's the key thing. Our very political system, the very first document, the very founded document, the basis of the belief of our lifestyle of Western republics, you may want to call it democracy, however you refer to our system of freedom. This is the founding concept of us. And it says, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. You know what that means? If you don't have the consent of the government, it's not just. And that's exactly right. How can it be just when you take somebody over and force them into your rule? That is not just. That also says that, I have done several videos, which I said, we have an obsession, we have an obsession with possession, a possession obsession in governances where people have this notion that they own you, that you belong to them. You're mine. No, you're not. No one has a right to own anybody. That's another form of slavery. It's an institutional, governmental form of slavery that one group says, oh, we own you. No, you have no right to that. And that's the very founding concept of this country. You have no right to that. I did several videos talking about that. So how do you think? Well, yeah, it's all one China. I've had people tell, oh, it's all one China. That Taiwan belongs to mainland China. I've had actually people comment on some of my video postings I have put on Facebook and other places trying to tell me that. Well, I don't buy it. I say they belong to China. They're both China. Pardon me. They're both China. They're both Chinese people. And I'll tell you what, the Chinese people that suffer most at the hands of the PRC are the ones living under it. So here's what I got to say. What we're finding out now is there's a lot of people over here on the PRC. And I've dated a lady from the PRC. Came over here. Her and one of her friends were science teachers. Come over and visit me a few times. All the way from China, invited me over there. Probably shouldn't go take you up out of the invite. Man. She said, hey, come stay with me. She lived in Guangdong. Come stay with me. And I love to. Except now I probably have a target on my back for talking about Xi Jinping, the things I've said. Yeah, I love the Chinese people. The government, not so much so. Not so much so. But see, I've been told, and what we're finding out is a lot of these people, when they come to the States, are kind of sort of forced to, especially if they're directly involved with the CCP, to spy for China. And it's part of their social credit system. And and I'm told they're even blackmailed with the status of health or whatever their families back home in many cases. Now, I wouldn't say that's always the case. At least I hope not, especially since I've dated a lady from there. I've also dated a lady from Taiwan and I'm a Chinese lady from Taiwan. And I have dated a Chinese national, well, not Chinese, a Chinese heritage lady from Indonesia. There are Chinese in Indonesia. So I've dated 3 Chinese ladies, one from mainland China, one from Taiwan, and one from Indonesia over my many years. And I've got friends. I have a lot of friends from Taiwan and some from mainland China too, including a great professor that I had in college. All right, all that said though, a lot of them are some here to spy, whether they want to or not. They're serving the CCP. But that don't mean they don't have a heart inside. Every person's got a heart. My dad always taught me one thing. God rest his soul. Where he's approaching what would have been his 100th birthday in April. But he always told me, he said, Greg, no matter how bad somebody is, they got just a little bit of good. No matter how good somebody got just a little bit of bad. There's good and bad in everybody. My dad always told me it's good and bad in everybody. No matter how good, they got just a little bit of bad. And no matter how bad, they got just a little bit of good. And that was kind of interesting because if you ever remember the Star Wars movie series, in which we find out in the second movie that Luke Skywalker was who was battling Darth Vader was actually the son of Darth Vader. But then he saw good in his father. And by the third of those movies, he right at the very end turned his father around, saved his father. He reached in and found that little good and pulled it out. It was good in everybody, just a little bit. But that's always a hope. That means there's some way that you can reach in. Now, I think there's a couple of unforgivable sins, especially one, particularly according to the Judeo-Christian way of thinking, the Christian way of thinking. There's one that you don't want to trespass on. But other than that, salvation is an option if you believe in that system. Now, all that said, it's like that. There's always a hope. And here's the hope. They've got a heart. They come here to this country. They see how we are. Yeah, we got our faults, but they also know we have opportunities, except for our society seems to be heading toward a cliff right now. Hopefully we can pull it back here. But maybe we can get these people and inspire them, talk to them, start engaging them, pull them in, start talking to them. Engage them in conversations, maybe even get into a little debate with them and get them to realize what their country could be if it were truly free. Yeah, they've had some economic success in mainland China, quite a bit in the last few decades. Economic success. Their personal freedoms aren't there, though. And they're not having as much economic success as they could have had. And a lot of that is being challenged right now. And in fact, there are instabilities in that regime that runs China, the CCP. So those of you that have the opportunity to talk with people and kind of interface with them, you might inspire them with the idea that there are ways that they could replace the CCP. They could overcome it, change it from within to establish freedom for the people of mainland China. I'm going to tell you what, a free mainland China would be awesome country. Wow. Yeah, they would probably kick our shorts economically, but at least you wouldn't be afraid of them putting a jackboot on your neck, okay? At least you could, you could celebrate together with them instead of, thinking, oh my gosh, I got to learn the language of my future masters and hope they don't dig that jackboot in too deep. Or you have to take other measures to keep that boot off your neck. God forbid. So let's pray that we don't have to go to that spot. But the best way to hope for freedom for them and us might be to talk to some Chinese. Talk to them. Plant seeds. Ideas have ripples. An idea is a very powerful thing. And we live in a war of ideas right now. Principally, the hearts and minds of people. That's where it starts. So an idea dropped into water is like a little pebble. It radiates out. They go back. Yeah, you got to be careful. There's a lot more resistance in that radiation path due to the way things are run. But people still talk. See, that's what undid the Soviet Union. Yeah, they had all these social control structures, but people got out. They would walk the dog. Yeah, they couldn't write it in their papers and things like we're used to here in the United States. But people had just started talking on the sidewalks massively. Information spread, ideas spread. And their government was already heading toward a cliff before we spin them under the table with our Star Wars program. Oh yeah, Ambassador Henry Cooper was over that one day. Hank Cooper, my buddy, we've had on this channel. So discovered they just couldn't. Well, Reagan pushed that. they couldn't compete with us economically because they just didn't have the economic base. Oh, that is not our hope in China, though. Oh, they got the economic base, but it does have some structural integrity problems, especially the way they borrowed money and things like that from themselves. They have some financial integrity issues there, and that's another crack. But there is hope. There is hope. See, this something. Most other channels come here and they bring you a problem, and their only solution is to prep. And I tell you, yeah, you need to prep. I'll tell you that just as much as they tell you. But I'll bring a few other solutions along here. You know, I started the Freedom Restoration Foundation. I've chaired a power grid defense conference. I brought people on my channel to tell you how to get your power grids hardened. And you know, oh yeah, this came from this is the Space Force. Got it from my friend Ed Kiker, who I met in April of 1981 at Fort Greely, Alaska. He also gave me this. Yeah, he and I started L5 Society together. He was here at my house, I would say yesterday. I haven't been in bed since. He's an old friend of mine for 40 years. Yeah, he lives in the area now, but we met in Alaska. So that's it, guys. We can make a change. We can do things. We can be effective. And sometimes the most effective thing we can do is talk to people. And I always have to have that to make things change, okay? Because there is the ideas and what they can do. The spread of ideas, information. See, your totalitarian regimes try to control information. Totalitarian regimes don't want their people to know what's going on. They shut down freedom of speech. That's what they do over there. Oh, we're doing it over here too now, aren't we? Okay. I did a video once called Freedom Matters. Remember that? I just changed my last video's name to Freedom Rocks. That's where somehow Freedom for All just wasn't getting the traction I thought it should get. And it does. Freedom Rocks. Share these videos, please. Let me get these ideas out. See? And that's the kind of idea that should go to those people and spread among our people. Because we forgot. We forgot these things, guys. Girls, we forgot. So, all right. I've said enough. If you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. Bang the notification bell and click on. Support my channels by clicking on links below. Sorry for all the commercials. It's just part of what I got to do to get things done. And YouTube seems to be running them real heavy now. I've had people tell me, oh, Greg, I got umpteen number of commercials. I think some people because I didn't see any, or maybe one or two. So I don't know. It seems to vary. All right, guys. Let's get this done. Be the change you want to see. And say, Greg, I believe in spreading liberty. How about that? Unless you don't believe in it. If you don't believe it, don't say anything. Tell me something different. Greg, why don't I want liberty for? Anybody, some people would think that. Yeah, some do. I've been told that by a few. To my face. It's like, what? Yeah. The narrative getting put out these days is kind of scary. That's why I cover this. That's why I'm going to these basics. That's why I'm talking about freedom. We can push it. Okay, guys? All right, enough said. With that, I'm going to say, have faith, hang in there, stay centered, never panic. Oh, they got us surrounded. Those poor, pathetic individuals. See, there's always hope. Always remember, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how arduous the going gets, there's always a silver lining around every mushroom cloud. Hey, you gotta have fun. You can find a little bit of humor in the worst situations. Okay, guys, we haven't got that bad. If we keep working, we can keep it from going there. In the end, we win. And with that, I'm gonna say thank you for watching.